Hi guys, it's Steve from Quinn Productions, and I'm here with Lucy Humphries and Mindy from Married by Mindy. Awesome to be here, guys, with you too.
So excited.
Yeah, always.
Always, it's a lot of fun talking about weddings. Are we experienced with weddings now? Do you think? Are we kind of?
I don't know, how many years do you have to be going before you're classed as being well versed in weddings?
Yeah.
Well, I reckon we're
getting up there.
We've got enough under our belt now.
Yep.
Definitely. Look, you guys have been very busy together, I've heard. So
Yeah, we've been together the last couple of days. It's
Yep.
been lovely. I always love working with Mindy. She's awesome.
Same.
Yeah, we had a property wedding on Sunday together, and yesterday we were out at Mansfield together,
Yep.
which was beautiful.
Beautiful days.
Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful. And long days out there. Were they pretty? What was the weather like? Was it pretty nice?
So we were really lucky on Sunday because the forecast wasn't great, but it didn't rain until I left, actually. I think it started at about 8 o'clock at night. So, we were really lucky. And the couple had prepped in that they had a big marquee, so they had a backup option because being on property, yeah, it's always a risk, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. And that's what we're finding, especially like this year, 2024, is the way the world is with money at the moment. Yeah, people are trying to save money. So I find that a lot of my couples this year are actually having DIY weddings at home or on a family farm or something like that to try and save on money. But there's a lot that goes into planning your
Yeah.
wedding at home, most definitely. Yeah.
When they come to you, Mindy, because you're quite early on in the piece, aren't they? When it comes to couples,
Yeah.
Do you advise a little bit? How does that all work?
So generally, look, it's sort of 50-50. Sometimes they've got a venue already in mind. They've already booked their venue, and then they come to generally the celebrant or the photographers, their next step in their wedding planning process. Sometimes they don't even have a venue yet and they're looking for advice. But when it comes to weddings at properties, it's always about I was a wedding planner and a coordinator for many, many years.
Oh.
So I love getting involved in that side of the ceremony planning with them as well and go, hey, let's have a think of outside the ceremony now and how is the whole day going to unfold and what sort of logistics need to go into this for us to be able to plan it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, gee, and and then it kind of moves into, they talk about their celebrant and they get you on board, and then they move into the photography and the video, and gee, there's so many moving pieces when it comes to property weddings.
Absolutely, yeah.
Definitely. It's one of those things where I think you kind of need to know exactly how you want it to look and feel first before that. Do you think that's something?
Absolutely, yeah. I always ask my couples a few things when they start planning their weddings. First question is, have you got a venue? If they do, awesome. How many people are coming? There's no point starting to plan until we know whether we're working with 120 guests or is it a little intimate elopement with like 13 people?
Great
Completely different ballparks there. And then what sort of vibe do you want to go for? How do you want to feel on your wedding day? How do you want it to look? And then that gets the cogs clicking, and then you start thinking about, we want a country style, a barn sort of setting, or we want full glam, we want something really modern. So once you sort of start getting those ideas and start putting budgets into place, especially, and then you figure out how many people are coming, that's when everything starts falling into place.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, it's I think photo-wise, Luce, like property weddings versus venue versus church.
Yeah.
I
think it's really special. It is really special when couples decide that they're going to get married at home or on family property, because there's emotional ties to a lot of the places that we can go for photos. A wedding that I did this weekend, the bride had picnicked in certain spots around the property, so we were able to go and get some of the bridal photos out there, which is so lovely to be able to tie that in. You've just got to make sure that you've got wet weather options. I'm speaking on the back of a very wet weather weekend, so you just got to make sure you've got everything in place that you need to. And there's a lot to think about because right from the toilets
Exactly
to the
right.
bar, like who's gonna organise that? Is there lighting? Do we need a generator? There's just there's a lot. If it's in a venue, then more often than not, with most venues, you've got help coordinating things or organising things, and they do have a wet weather backup or indoor, outdoor, whatever it is that you decided to do beforehand. So, yeah, there's lots to consider. It's not just...
So much to consider, even down to the line of bins. People forget bins on private property. So you've got to remember that you're on a private property. Make sure there's ashtrays. Make sure there's recycling bins. Make sure there's bins for the food scraps and that sort of thing. For the caterers, they need that sort of stuff as well.
Great point. Yeah.
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 And I don't know if you've seen out there's like these fancy luxury loos that you can get now. So like you've got to think though, you're in your beautiful wedding gown, you've had all day getting ready, you've been around in the paddocks going out and getting all these gorgeous photos with your photographers and videographers. And then you try and cram yourself into this tiny little portaloo. Everyone's in their heels. It's not good. So now you can actually get these trailers, which are full-on Vogue luxury loos. They're fantastic.
Very fancy.
Very
Wow.
fancy. They've even got aircon and lighting.
Wow.
Yeah.
And real mirrors and...
they're gorgeous.
Very, very,
Yeah.
very pretty.
Okay. Oh, see, that's something that, yeah, as a bloke, like... But look, it is important, those little details. Like, you know, we've done a lot of weddings all together actually now, and we come across some little things that you think that's a great idea. Like one actually I've got to mention to you guys was that it's to do with wedding cakes, and I didn't even realise this, and this is showing pretty average kind of, you know, what I'm thinking here, is that they brought out the cake, beautiful cake, looked a bit small for like all the guests, and I was thinking this is going to be the dessert as well. They had another tear that was just out the back. It never comes out.
Yep.
So they just cut that up out the back. And so they do the little chop, you know, for the photos and video, but they actually have like a backup cake, which is made
Dish out
exactly
to
the
everyone.
same.
Absolutely,
I didn't even know that all
Yeah.
these years. And I was
All
like...
these things going on in the background.
Yeah. It's a bit sneaky, all right. That's right.
And I love those dessert buffets they do now as well. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
Give me all the sugar.
That's it. Love me some cake.
No, it's food. I think food's a huge part to play in a wedding, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Have you had one like you know? There's the pizzas. Like there's a lot of different options now, isn't
Yeah,
there?
there is. And I think there's a lot of different options for all different budgets. Like if you're going for a really relaxed vibe, like we had a really cruisy wedding recently. It was just at the surf club. It's about 40, 50 people. It was so cruisy and laid back, and we had pizzas.
Yep.
And then you can go to, you know, go up the next stage and then go something like beautiful char bar catering, something like that. Yeah, there's so many different options for food that fall into different budgets, and gotta love those grazing boards.
Yes.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Aren't they fantastic?
Yeah.
They look fantastic, and it's got all the goodness on them. And I think it's a great way for your guests to graze, because, you know, you've been getting all ready all morning. Generally, you skip lunch because the ceremony's around 2, 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
You're generally driving to the ceremony by then. You've sat down for the ceremony. You've had family photos. You've had the group photos, and everyone's getting a little hungry at this point. So for them to go straight from the ceremony straight into, you know, drinks, and then to have that grazing board there while they're waiting for canapes to come out is a game changer.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's good. It definitely is. I just recently did one, and they just had it was a feast of grazing boards, but it was a great way to just build it up to, you know, dinner time. And there's a long gap there.
There
of,
is, yeah.
Not much, you know, not much. Not that not much is happening. It's just that you need that food. You do. You have a
do.
big break there.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than going home at 11 o'clock and having to stop at Macca's on the way home.
That's right. Even though I just do that anyway. But that's
It's a bit of a ritual, really, the cheeky cheeseburger on the way home.
Definitely. After a long day. Oh, awesome. Well, look, what's the plans over the next few days, guys? Have you guys got something on, or?
I've got a wedding tomorrow with you. You've got a wedding
Yeah,
elsewhere.
I've got a rehearsal this afternoon. Then I've got just a little legals only first thing in the morning tomorrow morning. And then in the afternoon, I've got my big wedding tomorrow afternoon. And then on Thursday, on Anzac Day, I've got a wedding down south at the Green Cathedral.
Oh, beautiful. It's
Oh,
lovely
that's
down there.
lovely.
It's
That's-
funny, isn't it? You can see, like, the date tomorrow's, this will be out of date now on the video, I realise, but the date's the 24th of the 4th, 24, which these popular dates tend to go really early, don't they? Like last year, it was the 23rd of October because it was 23/10/23.
Yep.
So if you are someone who likes the numbers kind of play idea, just bear in mind that venues, photographers, celebrants, videographers will get booked up
Yeah.
Absolutely. I've already
Early.
had an inquiry for the 25th of May next year.
Yeah.
So 25/5/25
Yeah.
for next year. So
Yep.
yeah, if
yep.
you are chasing those dates, get in
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
and there's
right.
always those. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? You can see them, but yeah, I was thinking big wedding tomorrow, but yeah, it's because of the date.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Mindy, I've got a question for you. Around when couples come to you and they want to talk to you a little bit about how the ceremony is going to go and their vows,
Yes.
do you give them a little bit of advice around how they do their vows?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, how does
so
that work?
pretty much when couples come to me, I'm like, where are you up to in your wedding planning? And they're like, oh, we've got the venue or we're still looking for a venue. And I'm like, what's next? They're like, they have no idea. They've never planned a wedding before. And generally the one thing that they're really freaking out about is talking in front of everyone with their vows. And like a lot of people don't even realize that personal vows aren't even a legal requirement. There's the legal vow that needs to happen
Yeah.
for you to legally be wed, and it's your choice if you'd like to do personal vows, and there's so many different ways to get around this. So obviously they get a ceremony kit from me and it's got all this different advice on how to write vows. I do suggest you don't do the old Google search. And it's just about simplifying it. There's no point trying to write like this long-winded rhyming poem to each other. Is that really how you speak to each other in normal day-to-day life? I'm like, just
Gotta be
keep it
about you,
real.
hasn't it?
That's it.
Yeah.
And it's not so much about telling a story. You'd really, the personal vows are for your partner only. So direct it at them. Tell them what you're looking forward to about getting married, what you're so excited about, what you love about them, what you're grateful for, what you're so excited about the future's going to hold, and just keep it short and sweet. I always get my couples to send me their vows if they are doing personal vows separately, just so I can have a look at them. Because God forbid if someone's written, an A4 sheet and someone's handed me then a paragraph. So it's a really good idea for couples to actually sit down and have a chat before they do their vows and go, okay, babe, how long do we want this to be? Is it 1 or 2 paragraphs? What sort of, are we going to be having some fun in them, or are we going to be all lovey-dovey and really serious? So it's a really good idea to have a chat about those vows prior. So that's when you do your personal vows. You can even do like ninja vows, where you write vows, you write a list of vows and then you sit there and say them for each other, which is
cute.
fun. I've had one before where they wrote the vows together and then we cut them up and we drew them out of a hat and then they just read one line each.
That's
Okay.
awesome.
So you can write them together. If you are totally freaking out about saying your vows in front of everyone, you don't have to. You can write it in a letter and then have it read the letter in the morning getting ready, and that's a great opportunity for the videographer and the photographer to capture that really
That's one
special
of your
moment
favourites, isn't
I
it?
love
of
your
reading the
thinking there,
vows
Mindy.
in
I
the
love your
morning.
thinking.
Yeah.
Just love any during the ceremony when couples say vows to each other. It just makes it, because that's typically when there's the most emotion on display.
Yeah.
It's one of
Yeah,
my
it's my favourite part.
parts.
It's favourite part, yeah.
But you make the whole ceremony fun in lots of different ways. Like there was a raffle the other day.
Yes. Yeah, witness lotto's always
there's
fun.
been shots.
Yeah.
You always have heaps of fun.
Any excuse to have a shot, absolutely. Have a shot when you tie the knot, why not?
I like that. Oh, gee, is that on your website? No.
Yeah, it's in the ceremony kit that they get. Yeah.
Too good. I like that. I like that.
Lots of fun ideas though. What's your favourite fun thing to do to add into a ceremony?
I love crowd vows. So when we do the legal vow exchange, then I love to get the guests to join in. It's all, if they're all your favourite people, why not get them to join in the ceremony and feel inclusive? So I like to pretend I'm about to be all serious. You've said your legal vows. That's quite a serious part of the ceremony. And then it's all like, okay, family and friends, do you promise to support these two in their marriage together as you always have? Do you promise to create special memories by eating all the food, drinking that bar dry and partying all night long on the D floor, and everyone just yells out, we do, and it's just a lovely icebreaker. And I tend to do that just before personal vows. And what we're strategically doing there is relaxing the couple with some light-hearted fun before, to take those nerves away before they start with their personal vows, should they be stressing out about it.
I like that. I really like that.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of it's our job outside our job. That's a funny
Absolutely.
thing that I think, we over for years doing it so long that we've been doing it. It's a psychological kind of, thing that we kind of try and help with.
There's so much that goes on behind the scenes.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I've seen Mindy arrive at the bride's place before the ceremony and everything to literally to sign paperwork, and you've ended up on the floor playing with children, reading storybooks, just so that mum, can get her makeup done for her wedding day.
Oh.
And we all do a little bit of that. You're absolutely right. It's not just rocking up and doing on paper what our job is.
That's exactly
our job
right.
is to make sure the day runs as smoothly and happily as it possibly
Exactly.
can.
Yep.
It's funny how, when I speak with grooms and I'm having chats with them, and you can see it in their eyes if they're really nervous. And sometimes it's just a little tap on the shoulder and just saying, mate, it's going real well. It's a great day, and just encouraging them. And then their demeanour changes. And probably you'd see it through photography, Luce. You'd see photos change a bit. So.
Absolutely. Literally the second that they've said their vows, I think, you just see couples
Exactly.
just go, oh,
Yep.
that's like the bit that we built up in our minds, I suppose, that's done, and we can relax now. And it's, it's visible.
And I find that with the reception side of things as well, is that the people that are doing speeches are freaking out about doing their speech. Sometimes a couple that are getting married are doing a speech, and that's all they're thinking about is after the ceremony, we've got to do our speech. So there's no real rules when it comes to a reception. Obviously, when you're planning a reception timeline, it's always good to be working around the venue, if it's at a venue or with the caterers or what have you, because we're going to evolve it all around food and food service timing. But who says that you need to do your speeches at the end of the night before you cut a cake and before you do a first dance? Like, quite often, I'm noticing another trend that's happening this year is cocktail weddings. So they're not actually sitting down and doing the entrees and the mains and the dessert service. So why can't we just kick off the night with speeches?
Yeah.
Get the bridal party straight into the room, have that really fun entrance. And a lot of the time then we'll actually just cut the cake first. It gives them something to walk to. They cut the cake and then they go into speeches, and that way everyone that's doing a speech can relax for the rest of the night and have a drink or maybe not have too many drinks before the speech. That's the other direction that it could go in. Yeah.
That can be the problem. But that's right. I think it, when you're planning out your wedding, to talk to all of us. We've seen a lot. We've seen how things work really well and seen how things kind of get a bit clunky.
Yep.
So it's important to just ask as many questions as possible. I think we've all, got some little tips that we want to share with couples. So it's great.
Yeah, exactly.
So
That's it. Use your vendors.
Yes.
They're the ones that do this for a living. We're the ones that live and breathe this.
Yeah.
Most people have never planned a wedding before when they go into planning their wedding. So they don't know where to go, and don't try and take all of that on board yourself.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lean on your vendors because that's what we're here to do.
That's right. Definitely right. Yeah. So look, weddings are going really well. I think we're kind of, we're not going into a little bit of a dip coming winter. I think it is a little bit of a slow period, but bookings for 2025, you guys are looking pretty busy going through.
Yeah, it's looking good at the
Coming
moment.
in,
The one thing I'm finding is that elopements and legals only, people are now downsizing their guest numbers, which is something that I've really noticed as a trend at the moment. Once again, comes back to the cost of living. A lot of elopement inquiries for next year. I've already got a legals only booking for next year.
Wow.
For 2025. So but the thing is, I think if people are looking at getting married in 2025, don't feel as though, we're only at the start of 2024. Like, now is the time to actually reach out to vendors, start putting some plans into place. And you'll find that once you start booking, say, a venue, your celebrant, your photographer, the ball will get rolling. But it's really important that when you're looking for your vendors, there's so many amazing photographers out there,
heaps.
celebrants, videographers, florists. There's so many amazing vendors here on the Mid-North Coast that you actually pick your vendors that you get along with, that you trust, that don't go vendor shopping money-based is the thing that I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So don't be put off by the cost of, say, a photographer, because I guarantee they're going to be worth every cent of that.
And you've
That's
got to
right.
spend a lot of time with
That's
us.
exactly right. So make sure you're really gelling with your vendors, and then, don't book based on price. That's for sure.
Yep.
It's a lifelong memory.
Especially photos. Like, they're the things you're going to be looking back on the rest of your life.
Definitely.
So don't skimp
Definitely.
on that.
Yeah, it's an experience that you want your day to reflect to yourself, but also you want to have a lot of fun.
Exactly right.
It's not just it's the product that comes out at the end of the day, but it's during the day as
Exactly
well.
right.
Important.
How are your
Oh,
vendors going to make you
absolutely.
feel on
Yeah.
your day?
Yeah.
Are they going to take that stress away from you? And like a lot of people, I love to say this to them, is like, especially if I'm emceeing, for example, it's like you've just spent an entire year planning your wedding. It's now time to hand over to the vendors and let us execute what you've been planning for a
Yeah.
whole year, so that you can bloody sit down and enjoy every minute of it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not have to look at your watch, not to have to think of a run sheet. Don't think about anything. Just live in the moment and let us be the brains for the day.
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. Too good. Well, I'd like to just have a little break, if that's all right
Yep.
with you guys. So we'll kind of finish like part one of this little chat that we're having. We'll have a quick drink and
Oh,
come back for
vino
part
or-
two. Thanks, everyone.